everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Pariprashna. So in this episode of Pariprashna, we will be discussing the very last chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 18, titled Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. So this seems to be, not seems to be, it actually is the longest chapter of Bhagavad Gita with 78 amazing verses. So in this particular chapter, Krishna kind of summarizes the essence from all the previous chapters. It seems like he's repeating a few things, but that seems to be an aspect of the best teacher where he is re-emphasizing certain things. And also Krishna tells us how surrendering to him is the ultimate teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So there are a lot of things Krishna touches upon in this long chapter. So I'm not sure how much we will actually be able to cover, but we will see. We'll try and touch upon as many aspects as possible by way of inquiring from His Grace Kamala Lochan Prabhu. So Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
So Prabhu, I think I'm going to start off with a loaded question. So in the context of renunciation. So renunciation is a topic that Krishna and Arjuna have touched upon quite a few times earlier also. So a common accusation from common people on people who pursue the path of spirituality seriously is that they are escapists, that they renounce, they give up their family duties, societal duties, and they think that these people are escaping and taking an easy route. So I would like for you to clear this accusation. And by way of doing that, if you can also enlighten us on what actually is renunciation.
So who was escaping? Arjuna was escaping and Krishna caught him from escape. How did Krishna catch escaping Arjuna? He caught hold of Arjuna who was escaping by Bhagavad Gita. So it is the Bhagavad Gita which doesn't allow a person to escape. Escape from the duties, escape from the responsibilities. It doesn't allow you to escape from responsibilities and duties, but definitely Bhagavad Gita help you from escaping from the clutches of Maya, from the clutches of the birth, death, old age, and disease. Now the problem in this world is everybody wants to escape the duty of serving God and then want to be caught up in the whirlpool of material existence, caught up in the miseries. So Bhagavad Gita helps you in escaping from karmic reactions, but not from karma. Karma means duty. Karmic reactions are the things which bind you. So Bhagavad Gita is the best solution for a person who wants to escape from karmic reaction, at the same time perform the karma. Now in this world, people want to escape the karmic reactions and perform the karma. But actually it is not possible without the help of Bhagavad Gita. So when somebody doesn't study the Bhagavad Gita, he becomes like Arjuna. He wants to escape the karma or the responsibilities. And then by doing so, he's inviting karmic reactions. So it is Arjuna who wanted to escape. So Arjuna was an escapist, and Krishna's instruction made him a really intelligent person to understand that we have to escape from the karmic reaction, not from karma. How do you escape from karmic reaction? By renouncing the attachment to results of karma, attachments to the karma itself, the work itself. So what is binding us is not our responsibilities. What is binding us is our attachment. So renunciation is not renouncing work, renouncing responsibility. When we say renunciation, that means we are renouncing our attachment to our responsibilities. So now when people accuse the ISKCON devotees for renouncing their responsibilities, they are specifically talking about those young boys who would join the movement as brahmacharis by giving up the responsibility of taking care of the parents, taking care of doing their job or business. But here I would like to mention how many are there who do that.
Mhm.
And we don't expect everybody would do that. And those who do that, they are accepting a higher responsibility. To accept higher responsibility, they give up lower responsibility. That doesn't mean that when a boy joins the movement as a brahmachari, he is not giving up his parents. He is not giving up his job. Rather, he is accepting many people as his parents. He is accepting the highest job of protecting dharma.
Mhm.
Like when a person joins the army, what is he doing? He is giving up his house and going to the border
Mhm.
and then protecting the political boundaries of the country. Now, a person when he joins ISKCON as a brahmachari, he is actually like that army person, as a military person, who gives up his house for protecting the cultural and spiritual boundaries of the country.
Mhm.
As simple as that.
Brilliant answer, Prabhu, and I really like the analogy you gave towards the end. So, Prabhu, in verse number 9, Krishna is talking about tyaga, renunciation in the mode of goodness. Let me quote the shloka first. कार्यमित्येव यत्कर्म नियतं क्रियते अर्जुन सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलं चैव सत्यागः सात्विको मतः. But he who performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done and renounces all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is of the nature of goodness, O Arjuna. Purport here, Prabhupada is writing something very meaningful. A man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna, and when he gives up the result for Krishna, he is acting transcendentally. So, Prabhupada is not talking about renunciation in the mode of goodness as somebody who has given up house and family and everything and gone. Prabhupada is writing about somebody who is working in a factory, how even they can practice renunciation in the mode of goodness. So, how can one cultivate sattvic renunciation in everyday life?
Very simple. We keep Krishna in our house, or a photograph of Krishna, or a deity of Krishna with the Guru Parampara. There is a book called Beginner's Guide to Krishna Consciousness.
Mhm.
If you purchase that book, it is available online also. Maybe you can download from the internet also. There it is mentioned how to set up an altar. Now, what has happened is in our houses, we gave the prominent place to the TV.
Hmm.
You just remove the TV and keep where your TV is, you keep the deity there. Hmm. Recently, I went to somebody's house. I was sitting in the hall and we were talking. Then the lady of the house, she told, Prabhuji, please come. I want to show our deities to you. So she took me inside and the family, whole family came. I was just had to cross to the room. And then some corner,
Hmm.
there's a small altar where there's some photographs. Very difficult to see also. It's very dark.
Hmm.
Then the whole program, they got over and then they gave me some dakshina and the lady asked, "Prabhuji, any kuch agya hai?" Then I told, anyhow, you're not going to follow my instruction. No, no, whatever you say, we're going to do. Then I told, if possible, only do. I'm not forcing. You replace your TV with the altar and you keep the TV where your God is there. Now, the place where you have kept God, it shows that you are not giving much importance to Him. And the place where you have kept your TV, that shows you're giving so much of importance to it.
Hmm.
You made the TV as the center of your house. And all of you sit in front of it and then watch it. But God is kept in one corner.
Hmm.
That is the simplest way where you can convert your renunciation to a higher level.
Okay.
Anyhow, you have renounced your in laws, you have renounced your parents because you are not staying with them.
Hmm.
You have kept your in laws somewhere else, you kept your parents somewhere else in the old age home. Have you not renounced them? Yes, you have renounced them. Okay. So, just saying that only a person who is Krishna conscious is renounced. No, you're also renounced. But the point is, what you're supposed to renounce, how you're supposed to renounce, that happens only when you keep Krishna in the center. Now, when you keep Krishna in the center, now who is the owner of your house? It is Krishna who is the owner of your house. Now, to feed Krishna, you require what? Ingredients. To make garland for Krishna, you require flowers. And for getting those flowers and ingredients to feed Krishna and the dress material you require for Krishna, you require money for it. Now, where do you get the money from? From your office, from your factory. So when you are using your money to feed Krishna the bhogas, to make garlands for Krishna, to make temple for Krishna, you working in the office, having your factory, having your business, that becomes Krishna conscious. Okay, forget these big activities of earning money and all. Simple work, sleeping. Sleeping is an activity in mode of ignorance. But that becomes transcendental when you sleep so that you are fresh enough to serve Krishna in the morning. Even the action of sleeping, that also you can do in the most renounced way. Even the activity in mode of goodness, the mode of ignorance, which is sleeping, that becomes transcendental when you keep Krishna. That is the power of Krishna consciousness. The power of keeping the deity. The power of replacing the place what you are given for the TV with the deities or the photograph or your altar.
Okay, beautiful. So, Prabhu, in the very next shloka, 10th verse, Nadveshtya kushalam karma kushalena anushajjate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samshayah. Those who are situated in the mode of goodness, who neither hate inauspicious work nor are attached to auspicious work, have no doubts about work. So, Prabhupada writes a simple but powerful paragraph, just one paragraph in the purport. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruitive results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruits should be renounced. So, Prabhu, seems like the sannyasa, the principle of renunciation, it's more of an internal disposition rather than just an external position in terms of the ashrama that somebody accepts. So, what is the significance of externally accepting sannyasa ashrama in the context of it being reconciled with the inner disposition of an individual?
Sannyasa is the state of consciousness. It is not the dress what you wear. It is not the position where you are in. It is a state of consciousness. That is what Krishna specifically talks about in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, Srila Prabhupada said, my Grihastha disciples are Grihastha sannyasis. That means they are living with their wife and children. That is why they are Grihastha externally. Internally, there is a mood of renunciation in them. They are willing to give up anything for Krishna. That is the mood which they have. That is the consciousness what they have. Now, your question specifically is about what is the significance of accepting the external sannyas? There is absolutely no significance. In the age of Kali, especially sannyas is prohibited. There are 5 things which are prohibited in the age of Kali. Sannyasam, Ashramedam, Gavarambam, right? Sutotpatti, Devarena Sutotpatti, like that, there are 5 things. One is sannyas. Why? Because in the age of Kali, it is not required. But still, our Acharya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he himself took sannyas from the photograph of his spiritual master, because there is a tendency in the society to respect sannyasis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also took sannyas. He did not take sannyas. An external sannyas he took because he knew in India there is a general tendency in people to take the words of the sannyasis quite seriously. Though it should not be so, but it is the norm like that. So they took advantage of it, that if a sannyasi speaks, people take seriously. So for that purpose, I take sannyas, so that they'll accept the words of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam spoken by me seriously. So in this way, in the age of Kali, the only purpose of sannyas is to preach Krishna consciousness. That doesn't mean others should not preach, others cannot preach Krishna consciousness. Others cannot propagate Krishna consciousness. But there is a requirement in the society in general that they want to look up at one person. Oh, he's a sannyasi, so I'll take blessings from him, I'll take instructions from him. So that is the only reason we accept sannyas in society. Otherwise, there is no reason. For an individual's progress in Krishna consciousness, in bhakti, one need not take sannyas and one should not even take sannyas. But an organization and the society demands, it is a demand of the organization and the society. That is why we require somebody who can be a sannyasi, so that people can look up to that person and get inspiration to progress in bhakti and have invest their faith in that person so that they can climb the ladder of bhakti. Otherwise, there is no requirement for it.
Okay. So, Prabhu, moving on, in shlokas 13 and 14, Krishna is listing 5 causes for success in all activity. So, I'll just read the shlokas and then present the question. Panchaitani mahabaho karanani nibodha me sankhye krutante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidham vividhascha prithak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. O mighty armed Arjuna, learn from me of the 5 factors which bring about the accomplishment of all action. These are declared in Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, the performer, the senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. So, Prabhu, generally speaking, when somebody is successful, no matter in any field, so hard work seems to get a disproportionate amount of credit. I burnt the midnight oil, I worked really hard, I missed all the family vacations, I worked hard. But however, here Krishna is saying hard work is only one aspect of success in the activity, that is endeavor. But seems like there are other factors also. So if you can throw some light on all these 5 factors, Prabhu.
If hard work is the only factor, then why every time you do the hard work, you will not get success? Why is it that everyone who has done hard work has not got success? Why is that sometimes without doing hard work, you got success? So that shows there are many factors. It is very egoistic. It is called ahankara, karta hamiti manyate. To think that I am the doer. It is because of me I got success. Of course, if it is because of your endeavor you got success, then why is it that many times you became failure in spite of all your endeavor? That shows there are other factors too. And among the 5 factors which Krishna mentioned, the first one is the body, adhisthana. The second one is the jiva, the living entity, that is karta. And then the third one is the senses, that is karta, karanam. And then fourth one is pratak vidham, vividha pratak cheshta, that is fourth one, that is cheshta. And the fifth one is daiva. Daiva means the super soul, Krishna. So in this way, these are the 5 factors, out of which the most important is daiva. Until unless there is anugraha of Krishna, mercy of Krishna, there is no way that you can get out of there is no way that you can attain success. So Krishna holds the key. Krishna is there in everybody's heart as Paramatma. Upadrashta, Anamanta, Varta, Bhokta, Maheshwara, Paramatmeti Chapyukto, Dehesmin, Purusha Paraha. So he is the person who is Karma Phala Pradata. In spite of all the four being very favorable, if that is not, then you will not get Karma Phala. You will not get success. So there are two kinds of people. One will say, endeavor, 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 that is the only way. Other will say, only the Lord. So you don't endeavor at all. No, both had to be combined together. The endeavor as well as the mercy of the Lord. When both of them combine, then success results. So when you are successful, you should give credit to the Supreme Lord. And that is the way you show your surrender to the Supreme Lord. If you don't show the credit to the Supreme Lord, you think it is because of me it has happened, then it shows your ahankara, which is the cause of destruction. When you show the credit to the Supreme Lord, that is because of Krishna I became successful. Then, interestingly, what happens when you are not successful, when you're unsuccessful, you know it is Krishna who made me unsuccessful. So he is ultimate benefactor. So even in my being unsuccessful, it is in my benefit that I'm unsuccessful. The realization comes. So even you will not be disturbed when you are not successful. And you will not be very proud when you are successful. So you'll maintain balance of mind. When you become proud of success, then you develop a lot of enemies. Many people will become envious of you. And when you are humble, because of you being Krishna conscious, by realizing it is because of Krishna I am successful, then your success will be giving you benefit. On the other hand, you will not be disturbed when you are unsuccessful, because you know it is in my benefit that I became unsuccessful.
Okay, fantastic, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, let's dissect shloka number 17 a little. Yasya nahankrito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sa imal loka nahanti na nibhadyate. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, is not the slayer, nor is he bound by his actions. So, Prabhu, let's just focus on the very first line of the purport now. In this verse, the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. So Prabhupada is attributing Arjuna declining to fight is actually coming from a place of false ego. So what are the signs or symptoms of somebody who is acting out of false ego and somebody who is acting free from false ego?
When somebody conducts his life, his actions, his words and thoughts according to the instructions of Krishna, then he is acting according to his Krishna consciousness. He's acting according to Krishna consciousness. And when somebody is not following the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and Krishna, then it is false ego.
Okay.
So Arjuna wanted to show himself to be renounced, and he was renouncing against the will of Krishna. Because he was attached to his own ideology. He was not attached to Krishna. So in this way, Arjuna was acting on the level of false ego because he was thinking that his opinion was better than Krishna's opinion. That is called false ego. Even though Arjuna was acting to be very humble, oh, let me go and beg and live my life. And he was very tolerant. He says, oh, Krishna, when you are with me, what kind of happiness I'm going to get from the kingdom? So Arjuna was attached to his own ideology, his own philosophy. That's where we say that he was attached to the false ego.
Okay. So moving on to the next line in the purport, Prabhu. Arjuna thought himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction within and without. Now let's split this sentence a little. So Arjuna thought himself to be the doer of action. So how does the realization that I am not the doer help me transcend the results of my actions?
Now, when somebody has realization that I am not the doer, who is the doer? Then you immediately know that it is Krishna who is the doer. Krishna is getting the work done through me. So when Krishna is the person who is going to get the work done to me, if it is successful, the success belongs to whom?
Krishna.
If it is a failure, it belongs to whom?
Krishna.
So I have nothing to do with neither success nor failure. I have only to do with the actions which Krishna wants me to do. By doing so, I am getting purified. And I am not bound because I am not doing for Krishna. I am not doing for myself. Like for example, if a soldier is fighting in the war front and he kills the enemy, so will he be caught by the police? Hey, why you killed? Rather, he will be rewarded for it.
Yes.
The same soldier, when he comes to his village, maybe he had some fight with someone, he had a gun and shot the person whom he had fight with. Even though the person whom he shot was wrong, what will happen to the police, the soldier?
He'll be arrested.
He'll be arrested. Same gun, same killing. The other person was an enemy. And this person, though he was wrong, he was his villager. Then he was caught, he was bound by the laws of karma. Why? Because he shot the villager whom he had a fight with for personal reasons. Whereas when he shot that enemy in the border, in the fighting, he did not shoot the enemy for personal reasons. He fought for the country. So he was not bound, rather he was rewarded. The same way when you fight for Krishna, when you work for Krishna, the reactions will be taken by Krishna. The reactions will be taken by Krishna.
Got it. Okay. So, Prabhu, the second half of this sentence, Prabhupada is writing, the supreme sanction within and without. Until now, you have been talking about Krishna as the supreme sanction. So, I'm assuming Krishna is the supreme sanction within. So, who is the supreme sanction without?
Supreme sanction within and supreme sanction without. Without the instruction of Krishna. Without means external instructions given by the spiritual master. That's what is the meaning.
Okay. So, Prabhu, moving on. So, in chapter 17, Krishna has already described to us worship in three modes, food in three modes, sacrifice in three modes, austerity in three modes, charity in three modes. And Krishna is spending quite a chunk of time here in 18th chapter explaining about knowledge, action, performance of action, understanding, determination, and happiness, each of them in the three modes. So, what is the purpose of Krishna talking about all these various things in the three modes? What is the essence? Why is he taking so much time to drill it into our heads about all these aspects in three modes?
Because yavat sanjayate kinchit kshetra sanyogat. Whatever you find in this world is nothing but the combination of the modes of nature with the living entity. That is why Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that namyah gunebhyah kartaram yatha drishtana pashyati. So one has to see that in this world there is nothing else other than the interaction of the modes of nature. At the same time, see oneself and also see Krishna as gunebhyah param, transcendent to the modes of nature. So that is why Sankhya has been repeated in this chapter in a more elaborate way. Like what Krishna told in the third chapter, in the fifth chapter, Tattvit Mahabhava Gunakarme Bhav Guna Guneshwartanti Timatvana Sajjate. To see that the whole world is nothing but the interaction of the modes of nature. A combination of the modes of nature are interacting with another combination of the modes of nature, being influenced with the modes of nature. Like Rasgulla is a combination of modes of nature. Your tongue is a particular combination of modes of nature. And when you eat it, then there is an influence of the modes of nature from your consciousness, conditioned consciousness, and the experiences are different because of that. So, to see this world is nothing but the modes. There's a dog barking, or somebody shouting at you. Both are nothing but influence the mode of passion. And I, being soul, nothing to do with that. So let me chant Hare Krishna, because Krishna is beyond the modes. So to bring you to the platform of not being disturbed, you have to get the realization that Nanya Gunebhya Kartaram Etadristhana Pashati. So Sankhya, which was described in the second chapter in a very seed way, in a seed verses, though that Sankhya is being elaborated here in the 18th chapter by describing the modes in a more elaborate way.
Okay, okay. So, Prabhu, in the interest of time, we will not necessarily go into each one of them in three modes. I would request the viewers to kindly read it on their own. But however, I would like to touch on happiness a little bit because that is something that everybody wants. Everybody is after achieving happiness. So, Krishna talks about three types of happiness. I'll just quote all of them and then maybe you can explain to us. Yattad सुखं त्विदानीं त्रिविधं शृणु मे भरतर्षभ अभ्यासाद्रमते यत्र दुःखान्तं च निगच्छति यत्तद् अग्रे विषमिव परिणामे अमृतोपमं तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम् आत्मबुद्धिप्रसादजम्. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. So, Prabhu, why does sattvic happiness seem like poison in the beginning?
It seems to be poison like beginning because it requires discipline. You're not used to it. So for something which you're not used to, if you start doing that, practicing that, it seems to be giving some trouble to you. Like, for example, getting up early in the morning, because you're not used to it. So immediately you start practicing getting up early in the morning, it is troublesome for you. But at the end, it is going to give you a good result. So on the other hand, the passion, it makes you feel happy in the middle, in the beginning. But at the end, it leads to distress. So that's why you're not used to it. That is the only reason. Abhyasat. That is, abhyasa means what? Practice. That is why Krishna talks about this word is abhyasat. The word abhyasa has been used here. Abhyasat ramate yatra. Dukkham na nigacchati. So this is abhyasa. Abhyasa means practice. It takes trouble to practice.
Okay. But it's quite tempting, no, Prabhu, if happiness in the mode of passion is like nectar in the beginning. So it's quite tempting to pursue that instead of sattvic happiness.
So that is why one should listen to the intelligence. Tempting means temptations are in the mind. The intelligence being superior to the mind, one should listen to the intelligence, not to the mind. If somebody just get carried away by the mind, then he'll undergo a lot of misery.
Okay. So, Prabhu, the happiness in the mode of ignorance, I'll just quote the shloka. Yadagre chanubandhe cha sukham mohanamatmanah nidralasya pramadotham tattamasam udahritam. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion is said to be of the nature of ignorance. So, Prabhu, in the context of happiness in the mode of ignorance, people who are taking into drugs, I mean, I myself counsel quite a lot of youngsters, even like 10th grade, 7th grade, and all getting into drugs in school, drugs being injected into like muffin and all, edible drugs, so many different things. It could be smoking, alcoholism. So, how does Krishna's teaching on happiness help in overcoming addiction or unhealthy habits?
Krishna's teachings are transcendental. And Srila Prabhupada, he proved to the entire world that the only solution for de-addiction is to be Krishna conscious. Bhagavad Gita is the only solution for de-addiction. There is no other solution. Because I was in touch with one devotee whose son was addicted to drugs, and they were not knowing about it. And what was he taking was cough syrup. I don't know the name of the cough syrup, but they told something. It is easily available in the market. And not only him, practically 15, 20 of his friends, they would go act in front of those parents that they are coughing. Oh, coughing, coughing. And they would say, if the parents would give some other medicine for it, they would say, this is not working. I want this medicine only. One syrup only. The parents used to give money. And it went on for practically 4 years. And when it started, they started this thing in the 6th standard.
Oh my God.
And all these group of 15 boys, they were taking money from their parents to take drugs, and a drug is available in a medical store. And now they came to know when they really became addicted when they came to 10th standard. And the addiction was so strong that they were practically mad by the time. And the father, he opened a de-addiction center, and he was shocked to see there was high demand for it. High demand. Not one to thousands of people, thousands of children from all kinds of families, all kinds of castes, all kinds of religion. They were just completely addicted to it. So I asked them recently, how is this going on? It was, we closed it. Why you closed? He said that there was no solution for it. They put it in the camp, they keep in the camp for 15, 20 days, sometimes 1 month, sometimes 6 months or 1 year. Again, they come back. Again, they take drugs. They find some opportunity. I don't know where do they get it from. He told, my son was the only person who overcome it. They saw 500 to 600 patients who came for rehabilitation. And so my son was the only person because he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and he was reading Bhagavad Gita. And he got a taste, and higher taste. These are the words used by the parent who suffered from having a son who was drug addict. Because he could get a higher taste. He could overcome. And he says he's very good and we are happy. And the purpose of reopening that whole rehabilitation camp was, so our son is a drug addict. Why don't we have a property? Why don't we use the property for that purpose? And they told that when we were giving Krishna consciousness to children, and most of the children, they were cured because they were taking up Krishna consciousness. But when they went back home, their parents, we told them, no, ask them to read the Bhagavad Gita, keep them connected to the temple. Their parents did not accept it. So the reason for the children getting addicted to drugs is you as parents. You're not taking Krishna consciousness. You're not studying Bhagavad Gita. You're not chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You are addicted to TV. And this boy is addicted to drugs. What is the difference between the both two? Both are addiction only. Both require rehabilitation. Actually, the whole world is drugged by something or other, or somebody or other. So until unless you take the drug of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, until unless you take the drug of Bhagavad Gita, you are a drug addict. So practically everybody is a drug addict.
Yeah, powerful statements, hard hitting. So, Prabhu, moving on, Krishna again re-emphasizes on the Varna Dharma, which he has already talked about in chapter 3. So, what is the significance of Varna Dharma? What is the relevance of it in the modern society? Is it even practical to establish Varna Dharma?
First, we should know what is Varna Dharma. Varna is there and Dharma is there. You just cannot have any organization or any country, any society without having Varna. When Srila Prabhupada went to Russia, there was a professor named Kotowski. He was asking Srila Prabhupada many questions. Then he asked one question. In India, you have in Hinduism, you have this casteism. Then Srila Prabhupada asked him, do you have intelligent people in Russia? He told, yes, we have intelligent people in Russia. Do you have administrative class? Yes, we have administrative class. We have the KGB. We have all these things. Then do you have a business? Yeah, we have mercantile class. Do you have working class? Yes, we have working class. Then Srila Prabhupada said, you also have casteism. So for a car to move, for a society to move, you have to have different classes of people to do different kinds of work. So there are four kinds of work. Where there's planning and where there's intellectual activity, then there's execution, and one who funds it, manages the funds, and one who actually does the ground level work. So Varna is an integral aspect of any society, not only human society, even the animal society also. Wherever you go, you have this Varna. For example, if you're running a company, you require somebody who takes care of finance, one who takes care of administration, one who works, and one who does the planning. Even in the house, to run a house, you require these four categories of work. So Varna means actually four categories of work. Now the problem is, dharma is lost. So we don't have to establish varnashrama dharma. Varnashrama is already there in any system. What you have to inject is dharma. There are two kinds of dharma. One dharma is paro dharma, and other dharma is aparo dharma. So the varnashrama dharma is apara dharma of the body. Now what is existing is only body. There is no dharma of the body. Why it has lost? It is because the purpose of varnashrama dharma is paro dharma, to satisfy Vishnu. So when somebody forgets, or a society forgets, that my duty or our duty is to satisfy Vishnu, is to serve Vishnu, is to serve Krishna, then gradually, when the paro dharma is forgotten, in the varnashrama dharma will be lost. Only what is left is varnashrama, or in other words, it is only varnashrama. Vanara means monkey. Shrama means hard work. That's all. So if you inject dharma, what dharma? Dharma varnashrama, with the purpose of satisfying Vishnu, then varnashrama can be established. So the only way to establish varnashrama dharma is to bring back the paro dharma, that is bhakti. So when you teach Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, and make people chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then automatically the varnashrama dharma will manifest. Automatically it will manifest, because the skeleton is there already. Whether you go to Europe, you go to America, you go to Australia, you go to Africa, anywhere, you will find it. Even if you go to African jungle, there will be a priest, there will be a king, there will be somebody who is farming and doing business, and there will be somebody who is working. They don't even know the spelling of Varna, but it is there, it is existing. So if you inject the dharma of a Brahmana, now you have Brahmanas, they forgot their dharma, that is a problem. You have Kshatriyas, you have their kings, they forgot their dharma, that is a problem. You are businessmen. It is not that there is no business. They are businessmen. When they forgot their dharma, forgot their responsibility. They are doing the work, but forgot the responsibility. See, there is a lot of difference between just working and responsibility. For a teacher to go to school every day and then spend that 8 hours, 4 hours in front of the students, it is his work. But what is the responsibility? Responsibility is to teach the children and give them knowledge and make their future bright. So there is a lot of difference in just working and having and responsibilities. The responsibility of a Brahmana is what? That is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Future talks about it in the further verses. Samo, Dama, Tapas, Saucham,
Yes.
Shanti, Arjuna. So to set an example of these qualities.
Mm.
So now somebody thinks himself to be a Brahmana by forgetting his responsibility. Somebody thinks I'm the king, forgetting his responsibility. So this is how you inject Krishna consciousness, which is Parodharma, in the society by which the varnashrama automatically manifests for a period of time.
So, Prabhu, I agree with your fact that injecting the dharma into the varnashrama. But however, with all due respect, I beg to disagree when you say that varna is already there. I don't know, because there is a high level of job dissatisfaction in the current times, because people are not doing work according to their nature. So there is a mismatch of nature and work. So I don't think even varna is there, because people are just running behind money.
Yes, what you say is perfect. That is, varna is there because no dharma. Varna is there, but in it not in its perfectness.
Mhm.
Like for example, you have skeleton. The skeleton without the muscles, it is there. It is not the skeleton is not there, but it does not. It cannot do the function of a body, and that is why dissatisfaction is there.
Mhm.
Mhm. A person who is having a Brahminical tendency, he finds that why I should go and teach someone. I myself will do business and do earn more money.
Mm.
So even though he's earning more money, he'll be dissatisfied because it is not his nature to do business.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean that in the society you require these four things. Then only something will function. I'm
Mhm.
talking about the functionality of any society. For
Okay.
that you require this. And there is people belonging to different tendencies. They are the wrong positions. But the positions as a skeleton is there. That is what I was talking about.
Okay. So whose responsibility is it to match the nature and the work of an individual? Earlier, Gurukula system was there, gurus were doing it, but now who is supposed to do that?
As I told, uh, that can happen only when there is Krishna consciousness being accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Without accepting Krishna consciousness, without chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and studying the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, there can never be revival of varnashrama,
Mm-hmm.
which we call as Hinduism, which we call as Sanatana Dharma
Mm.
these days. I mean, Sanatani, all these things. But it's impossible without chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is the Mahamantra for the age of Kali.
Mm.
Without studying the Bhagavad Gita and conducting the life according to Bhagavad Gita,
Mm-hmm.
without experiencing the rasa from the Srimad Bhagavatam,
Mm-hmm.
there can be no revival of Varnashrama. There can be no revival of Sanatana Dharma. There can be no revival of Hinduism.
Mm. Okay, okay. What is the destination of people who practice Varna without bhakti?
The destination is degradation. That is what the Bharata has seen.
Mm-hmm.
Why, in spite of the high culture, why it became degraded? It is because of lack of Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It is because when the Brahmanas, when they did not chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when the Brahmanas they did not study Bhagavad Gita and propagate Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam,
Uh-huh.
they were only interested in making some money from doing some karma kanda. The Kshatriyas they thought that why I should listen to this person? I am more powerful.
Mm.
He just chants some mantras and he takes money and goes. So he thought I am superior because I have the power.
Mm.
So they gave up.
Okay.
And a huge section of the society, they gave up, of Kshatriya society, they gave up the Vedic culture. And they took shelter of Buddhism, which is non-Vedic.
Mm-hmm.
And a huge section of Vaishyas, they took up Jainism, which is non-Vedic. They gave up the position there. In this way, the whole system collapsed.
Mm.
Krishna is the basis for the entire world. It is he who established Varna and Ashrama. And if you forget the basis of your existence, of your Varna and Ashrama, basis of your culture, basis of your so-called Sanatana Dharma, basis of your Hinduism, then it will collapse. if there is no foundation, in spite of the building being so wonderful and great, it will collapse. The collapse of the varnashrama, the Sanatana Dharma, is because of lack of Krishna consciousness, lack of studying the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, and Hare Krishna Mahamantra as when worshipping the deity. As soon as this is being spread around the world, then automatically varnashrama dharma comes. Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West, he made people chant Hare Krishna. He made people read Bhagavad Gita and conduct their life into Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Then you will find varnashrama being manifest. You will find ashrama being manifest in society. So that is how it can happen.
Okay. So, Prabhu, the chapter title here has a word called moksha, which is liberation. So, is bhakti necessary for liberation? Because bhakti leads us to the highest level, like Krishna prema. But for liberation, is bhakti needed, or can it be achieved only through jnana yoga or karma yoga?
See, the definition of moksha has to be understood. First, moksham vishnangri labham. Sripad Madhvacharya has clearly told, moksham vishnangri labham. What is moksha? To attain the lotus feet of Vishnu. And how will you attain lotus feet of Vishnu without bhakti? So, it is the bhakti which is going to give you moksha. And moksha is also bhakti, because what you do attaining Krishna's lotus feet, you serve him there. So it is bhakti throughout. That is why, interestingly, in the 18th chapter, you have a verse. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samam sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So a liberated soul gets bhakti.
Yeah.
So liberation is not the end. Actually, it is the beginning of bhakti. Oh, if I am going to do bhakti after liberation, then how to get liberation? For that also, bhakti is the only way. Where Krishna said in the 14th chapter, Mam cha vyabicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samapitetan dhamabhuya kalpate. So, by practice of sadhana bhakti, you attain Brahmabhuta avastha, liberation. And after attaining liberation, what you do? Bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. So, what is there in the beginning till the end is only bhakti.
Okay.
Sadhana and sadhya both are same. Our sadhana is bhakti and sadhya is also bhakti. There is sadhana, other is prema. Of course, there is a process of attaining liberation by practicing some kind of jnana, which has got karma in it as a sadhana. By that, you attain a stage of liberation, but there is a chance of you coming back. Aruha kruchena param padam padanti adaha. Because there is no activity for the soul, and the soul is active. So then the soul thinks, oh, better I was happy more when I was bound in this world. After liberation, I'm suffering more. At least I was able to talk to people, at least I had to do something, even though suffering was there. Here, there is no suffering, but there's a bigger suffering because I don't have anybody to speak to. I don't have anything to do. So I'm just Brahmabhuta avastha. So better, if somebody says you, I'll give you air-conditioned room, you're suffering outside because of the heat, and then there are so many people who are troubling you. They are fighting with so many people. I'll give you a nice air-conditioned room. Stay there. But one thing, nobody will talk to you. And you should not do anything. You'll get your food on time. What does a person say? He'll go there, oh, nice AC room. After some time, he'll, nah, I don't want. Let me be in the hot sun. At least people are beating me, no problem. At least I got somebody to talk to. Like that.
Okay. So, Prabhu, what is the significance of peace, prasannatma, in developing or deepening our relationship with Krishna? And what kind of peace is this? Is this just material peace? You are not having any material problems, or is this some kind of transcendental peace?
Brahmabhuta prasannatma. Prasannatma means one who is satisfied. The satisfaction is in serving Krishna, in relishing your rasa with Krishna, because Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samam sarveshu bhuteshu bhaktim labate. So the prasannata can happen only by the process of bhakti. Without bhakti, the so-called prasannata is only temporary. It leads to frustration. As I give the same example of a person who was in the hot sun, fighting his people beating him. Then when you give an offer, why don't you come to an air-conditioned room, you'll be peaceful, nobody will be there, then you'll be very happy. But how long? After some time he feels there's nobody to talk to. So better is the place where the sun is very hot, at least somebody is there to talk to, somebody I can interact with. So the real prasannata is actually only coming from bhakti.
Okay. How can somebody be prasannatma and still do tivrena bhakti yogena? If we are already satisfied, why intensify our devotion?
At the level of prema, like Srila Prabhupada, he was in Vrindavan, he was well respected, and he had transcendent relation with Krishna, experiencing Krishna prema. Then why did he go to America, took that all the struggle? It's a labor of love. When you love someone, you struggle hard to satisfy the person. So struggle is the nature of love. Labor is the nature of love. So it will not make you self-satisfied. Oh, I'm satisfied. No. Because when you love Krishna, what do? You will struggle hard for Krishna. So your love for Krishna is expressed by your struggle for Krishna. So that is what Srila Prabhupada did. So Brahmavut Prasannatma and also Chugunagam, Samam Sarvesha Bhuteshu Bhaktim Labate Param. And that bhakti, the prema, makes that person give up the so-called satisfaction. What to speak of that? When somebody is experiencing prema, then he is serving Krishna in his love. There are some manifestations which happen. Ashtasattvika, the hairs on the body, they start standing on your end, at your end, and you have tears going through your eyes, you're laughing, crying. So these obstruct your service to Krishna. Then the devotee says, what is the use of all these symptoms of ecstatic love and happiness? Because it's obstructing my service to Krishna.
Okay. So Prabhu, na shochati, na kankshati. So how does freedom from shochati, that is lamentation, and kankshati, that is hankering, how does that signify self-realization?
Na shochati means he is not worried, he is not lamenting for what has happened in the past. Na kankshati means he is not worried what is going to happen in future. Because he knows very well what all happened in the past, what all I have lost in the past. It doesn't belong to me. Everything belongs to Krishna. So there is nothing for him to lament. Because the devotee has a realization that everything belongs to Krishna and it is Krishna's. Krishna has taken it, no problem. Somebody lost their father, mother, or somebody. Not lament for it because they belong to Krishna. So Krishna has taken them. So somebody lost the day, which property? Okay, not lament because it belongs to Krishna. Na kankshati, he is not afraid. He is not having any anxiety because he knows I am secure in the hands of Krishna. Since he is secure in the hands of Krishna, there is no kanksha, no shoka. Shoka, moha, bhaya, paha. What to speak of this? Just by hearing Krishna Katha, one can experience the glimpse of giving up shoka, moha and bhaya. Shoka is a misery which we experience now because of the past. Moha is a misery which we experience now because of present. And bhaya is because of the misery which we experience now because of future. So all the three miseries, because of past, present and future, are not experienced by devotee because he has a realization that Krishna is the ultimate protector and everything belongs to him.
So, Prabhu, that's a good segue to my next question. So, in 56th shloka, Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madhyapashrayah matprasadad avapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. So, what is this ashraya, Prabhu? Taking shelter of Krishna. What does that mean?
Taking shelter of Krishna means to follow the instructions of Krishna. Simple.
Okay.
Now, Krishna is telling Arjuna, I know Arjuna, you are self-satisfied, but still you work for me.
Mm.
On the name of self-satisfaction, if you give up your self-satisfied I are and you're going to give up your prescribed duty, that is not authorized by me for you.
Mm.
For you, I want that though you are self-satisfied, I want you to fight.
Mm.
Though you may be qualified to take sannyas, but I want you to work. I want you to build a temple. I want you to take care of this family. I want you to take care of accounts for Krishna.
Mm.
So for Krishna is clearly telling Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, on the name of na sojati, na kankshati, prasannatma, don't get carried away by these words. I want you, in spite of you being self-satisfied, you should work hard because that is my desire.
Okay.
And satisfying my desire, following my instructions is known as madhyapashraya, that is taking shelter.
Mm. Mm.
And by taking shelter of me, mat prasadat, you will get my mercy. And then what you attain? You attain shashvat padam avayam. You attain my abode.
Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, let's take a look at shlokas 58, 59, and 60 in conjunction. I'll just chant them and then ask my question. Matchitta sarva durgani matprasadat tarishyasi atha chetvam ahankara nashrosyasi vinangshyasi. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Then 59th verse. Yad ahankaramashritya nayotsya iti manyase mityaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshyati. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Then 60th was स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत्. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. So, Prabhu, seeing all these three verses together, so looks like fighting and not fighting are not the choices for Arjuna. He is going to fight. Krishna is saying, by nature, you will fight. But seems like the options for Arjuna is whether is he going to fight by taking shelter of Krishna under the order of Krishna, or is he going to fight misdirected by his false ego? Is that correct understanding, Prabhu?
Yes. There are two options.
Mhm.
One is to fight under the false ego that I am the fighter. Other is to fight for Krishna.
Yes.
Anyhow, you are going to do. Better do for Krishna and then be happy and attain perfection. See, the nature of the soul is to do something.
Mm.
What to speak of that? Let us take in a very practical way. Of course, every philosophical statement has a practicality in it, but express it in a practical way. Every house, there is a cooking going on. Isn't it? But what makes the difference is if you cook for yourself, then you are bound. If you cook for Krishna, you'll be liberated. Everybody is earning money. If you earn money for Krishna, you'll be liberated. If you earn for yourself, you'll be bound. I think there is no simpler way to put the instructions which Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita than this.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, Prabhu, 58th shloka, one more question related to this. Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. So, a common myth that people have is once we become devotees, somehow it'll become a path of, it'll be a bed of roses, it'll not be filled with obstacles. But Krishna is not saying that. He said, you will have obstacles, but you will overcome them by my mercy. So, could you please elaborate on this, Prabhu?
Any good thing you do in this world will have obstacles, especially when you are practicing spiritual life. There will be obstacles, especially when you are preaching or teaching spiritual life, spiritual consciousness.
Mm.
Then there will be definitely obstacles, rather more obstacles. You just cannot even think of the obstacles which come in the life of a devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and preaching Krishna consciousness. So you should know that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is our Acharya, he spoke one very interesting statement.
Mm-hmm.
He said that, I have given them troubles. And in this world, anybody who actually practices Krishna consciousness or propagates Krishna consciousness, his path will be full of thorns,
Mm. Interesting.
full of thorns. So this is what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told.
Mm.
You see, Srila Prabhupada, his self-realized soul, did he not find obstacles in
A
his
lot
life?
of it. Yeah.
What to speak of him? Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a district judge.
Mm-hmm.
So morning I was giving class.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his father is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was building a Bhakti Bhavan. And he was sitting there with the beads in his hand and he was chanting, at the same time overseeing the construction of the temple. There, some people came and told, oh, why the government has appointed you as a judge? They should have made you, put you in the PWD department. They are laughing at him. But same Bhaktivinoda Thakur was such a elevated personality. He said that the bricks, the cement, and the mortar, I'm seeing the stones which I'm seeing for the construction, these are actually uddipana for me.
Mm.
When I see them, my desire to serve Krishna increases.
Mm.
So just see how elevated is Kamala Manjari,
Yes.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Mm.
But he is seeing that stone which is used in construction for the temple, that stone is actually uddipana means the thing which inspires desire to serve Krishna.
Mm. Mm.
Okay.
Okay, very nice, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, moving on to the 61st verse. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesh Arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So, Prabhu, as Paramatma, is Krishna directing everybody, devotees, non-devotees, atheists, demons, everyone?
Yes. Arjuna accepted what all Krishna told, but still he was thinking, I am getting that knowledge. I am the knower. Now Krishna tells Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, ah, it is me who is sitting in your heart, in everybody's heart, giving the knowledge to you. That is why he says in this particular verse, Sarvutani Hidesh Arjuna Tishtati, Brahmayan Sarvutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. I am sitting in everybody's heart. And it is because of me you get the knowledge. It is because of me somebody doesn't get the knowledge. So he is there in everybody's heart, both moving, non-living, non-moving. And then the source of knowledge is he. Brahmayan sarabhutani yantra rudhani maya.
And Prabhu 63rd, what an amazing verse. Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrushyaitad asheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. Thus I have explained to you the most confidential of all knowledge. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. Yathechasi tata kuru. How renounced Krishna is. He spoke so much, so many verses to Arjuna. But however, he is respecting the free will of Arjuna. He is not forcing him to do anything. On one side, he has such compassion and outpouring of love that he gave all this amazing, unparalleled knowledge to Arjuna. But at the same time, he's so renounced. He's like, okay, you do whatever you want to do after deliberating on this. So, what do you have to say about this detachment of Krishna, Prabhu?
It is not the detachment of Krishna. It is actually attachment of Krishna.
Really?
Yeah. Krishna, he is so attached to his devotees that he is so confident that my devotees are going to do what I say.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
At the same time, he is telling the entire world that I have given the freedom for every soul. Because there can be no love without freedom. If you put a gun at the head of one young girl and then tell, you should love him, otherwise you'll be killed. And she says, yes, yes, I love him. Is it love? No. Out of many, she chooses one person with her own free will. Then it is called love. Krishna has given the free will to everyone because he knows my relationship with everyone is that of love. So there cannot be any love on gunpoint. So these are two prameyas you'll find. One is Krishna's confidence, my devotee will follow what I say. Other one is, in general people, he's saying that, okay, anyhow, whether you love me or not, I love you. Because you are mama ivamshaha, you are my amsha. Amsha means there is a relationship of love. You may forget, I will not forget. But I cannot force, though I can.
So, in case Arjuna had denied to fight, would Krishna's love for Arjuna still remain the same?
I did not get what he said.
In case Arjuna had declined to fight, would Krishna's love for Arjuna still remain the same?
Yes. So somebody asked me a question that if you don't follow the orders of Krishna, will Krishna get angry? I told Krishna will not get angry, but it becomes sad.
So, Prabhu, just now Krishna said, I have given guhyat guhyataram maya, the most confidential I have explained. In the very next verse is saying, because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you the most confidential part of knowledge. Hear this from me, for it is for your own benefit. Just now he said, I spoke the most confidential, and now again he's saying, I'll speak most confidential.
Yes. Now Krishna is going to speak two verses.
Yes.
65 and 66, which is known as Gita Rahasya. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke so many Karma Nishta Bhakti, Jnana Nishta Bhakti, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and all these things. But now he says, Arjuna, the whole purpose of I speaking Bhagavad Gita is to bring you to the point of understanding the secret of Gita. That is, Manmana Bhavakto, Madbhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Mame Vaishi Satyante Pratijane Priyosine. So he is creating a background for that particular verse by saying that Bhuyat. Bhuyat means again.
Mm.
When did he speak this before? In the 9th chapter also he has spoken. Like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So I'm going to speak to you Sarva Guhya Tamam. That is why it is known as Gita Rahasya. This verse is known as Gita Rahasya.
Mm.
That is the 65th verse. This secret is Sarva Guhya Tamam. Here from me again, what I have spoken to you in the 9th chapter, I'm going to speak to you again. Why? For your benefit.
Yes.
For your benefit.
Mm.
Because you have faith in me, that is why I'm speaking to you again.
So, Prabhu, like you said, this is Gita Rahasya, and Krishna has already spoken this verse in 9th chapter, last shloka. So, once Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is so simple that you might miss it. So, this shloka seems like super simple. I mean, offering obeisances to Krishna, worshipping Krishna, none of the things that Krishna is saying is not that any difficult. I mean, it's not that difficult. But how come still we are struggling to follow the simple instruction?
Bhakti is simple for the simple, complicated for the complicated.
Hmm.
So why are we feeling so complicated doing this thing? Because our hearts have become complicated.
Okay.
Because of association, because of the so-called education system, our hearts, our mind has become so complicated. But if somebody is very simple-hearted, bhakti is simple.
Hmm.
So you cannot generalize that everybody is complicated for everyone. Just see a small kid, just goes, pay obeisances, chants Hare Krishna.
Mhm.
Whereas a 90-year-old man, he still thinks, why I should do? Why only Krishna? All these things come in the mind. Because his mind has become complicated.
Mhm.
So bhakti is simple for the simple and complicated for the complicated.
Okay. Okay. So the 66th verse, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma shuchah. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So, Prabhu, this abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. If this was going to be the final instruction of Krishna, why not Krishna could have given this earlier in second chapter only? Why give Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, so many yogas and all that, and then finally say, give up all those religions and just surrender to me?
Because it is not possible for everyone to just practice this verse all of a sudden. Because of attachments which we have for different people, things, and work, what we do, etc.
Mhm.
Like you have a cloth which is blown away by the wind and is fall on a thorny bush. When you go there, if you just pull the cloth, it will get torn.
Mhm.
So you have to gradually remove, and then the contact is minimum at the time you pull it.
Yeah.
So Krishna gave all these yogas of karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and different aspects of that, so that a person's a person develops that kind of sukruti
Mhm.
by which he can one day give up everything and then surrender to Krishna at once. Now, when you say give up, doesn't mean that you take sannyas.
Yes. Yes.
It's a state of consciousness. Uh, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam tam, like the gopis.
Mm.
They're totally engrossed in Krishna. For them, there's nothing else other than Krishna. So, by the association of a pure devotee, one can immediately practice this verse. It is nothing like that. That you have to go through all and then only you come to the level of surrendering to Krishna.
Okay.
But if you just give one instruction, then the audience will be restricted only to very few. So to bring everyone who is karma pravutta, jnana pravutta, ashtanga pravutta, all kinds of mentalities of people somehow come to the fold of devotion, to bring them to the fold of devotion. Krishna, he spoke all those things and then he speaks this.
Okay. Okay. So, Prabhu, is it accurate to say that the essence of surrender is to align our free will with the divine will?
Definitely.
Okay. And once Prabhupada was giving a lecture in Australia, and one of the disciples asked, Prabhupada, how long does it take to surrender? And Prabhupada kind of sweetly chastised him, saying, are you not reading Bhagavad Gita? And then he quoted this particular verse and said, just a moment, just one moment is enough to surrender to Krishna. So, how can we also expedite the process of surrender?
By association. We in this world do things by hearing from someone or seeing somebody doing it. That's all. When you hear and see someone surrendering, especially from the Bhagavatam, when you hear Parikshit Maharaj surrendering, you'll be inspired to do the same thing.
Yes.
When you hear Sukadeva Goswami surrendering to Krishna, hear Prahlad Maharaj surrender, the gopis surrender. So when you hear in the Bhagavatam, then you'll know how to surrender, and also you get inspired to surrender. That is why the Bhagavatam is there as an extension to Bhagavad Gita. This word Sarvadharman Parityajya is the end of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavatam starts with Dharma Projita Kaito Putra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Sudam. There is a connection.
Okay. So, Prabhu, this word ma shuchaha, so Bhagavad Gita starts with don't worry and ends with don't worry. I remember in one of your classes, you were saying you were invited to speak on a political platform, and by the time all the politicians spoke, they took up so much time, and then finally they went and said, now Swamiji, aap do shabd boliye. Then when they said do shabd boliye, you took it literally. You went and said, don't worry, and you came back and sat. And that person was taken aback, and then he came and said, aur kuch bol sakte hai aap. And then you went and said, don't worry, be happy. And then you started speaking, elaborating on that, and audience who had left came back. So if you can tell us, Prabhu, everybody is worried about so many different things. So how can we just become free from all worries and anxieties just by surrendering to Krishna?
By taking anxiety and worry of serving Krishna.
Ah, how wonderful.
That's all.
Amazing. Very nice. Like Bharata, he took the anxiety of ruling Ayodhya on behalf of Rama, like
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. So, Prabhu, why does Krishna say, don't explain this confidential knowledge to people who are envious of me and don't have faith in me?
Krishna may say so many things, but for Krishna we'll do so many things. So one of the things is not to follow Krishna's order here.
Okay.
Like sometimes somebody may say, you have a guest in your house, and that person says, hey, don't cook so many things, no items, this is, I'm that, I'm this. So then what do? You'll follow what he says?
No, we will still cook.
No. Still, that's our job. So, Srila Prabhupada also talks about it. It's not the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That we speak to everyone. Accept, don't accept, don't accept. That is different. But Krishna has told, why people may offend, but we are not bothered about it.
So, can we say that Krishna's devotees are far more merciful than Krishna himself?
Yes. So Krishna said, don't speak to somebody who is envious of me. Somebody who doesn't want to hear. Because when they'll create an offense, they offend Krishna by doing so. But the devotees, they take all the risk.
Yes. Okay. So, and then this is so inspiring when Krishna says, Ya idam paramam guhyam madbhakteshva vidhasyati bhaktim mayi param kritva mame vaishyatya samshayah. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. And in the very next shloka, Krishna says, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Why Krishna has this so much of love and high regard for his devotees who preach the message of Bhagavad Gita?
Krishna said in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita that Dharma Sansthapanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Whose responsibility is to establish Dharma? Krishna's responsibility. So when he sees that somebody is helping me in executing his responsibility, even though incapable of doing that, he becomes very affectionate for that person. One devotee told me, "Prabhuji, I am not capable of preaching." Then I give the example that Krishna becomes more pleased when an incapable person tries to preach. Like the mother, she has two daughters. One daughter she's a 16, 17-year-old. And now another daughter is just only 5-year-old, 6-year-old. Now, one day the mother was so sick that she was not able to even get up from the bed. And the father is going to come at 8 o'clock. It's already 7:30, and no cooking. Dinner has not been cooked. So what these two girls do, they go to the kitchen and then they start cooking. Because this 6-year-old girl, the sister told, don't go. You cannot do. I'll take care of it. I'll do something. I'll cook some rice or something like that. But still, no, I'll go. This 5-year-old girl, she also started cooking because not experienced. Some vessels fell down because of she mishandling it. The mother wakes up. She comes and sees there's these two daughters of hers. They are cooking, and it's only 7:30, and now she loves both of them, but especially she becomes very much happy to see this 5-year-old daughter helping, though not qualified, but trying to help. The same way, when somebody endeavors to establish dharma, and whose responsibility was it to cook? Mothers. And whose responsibility was it to establish dharma? It is Krishna's responsibility. But on behalf of Krishna, when an unqualified person also tries to do it, then he becomes the recipient of affection of Krishna. That's the reason. That's how we should do.
Very nice. And Krishna is making a declaration here, and I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. So studying Bhagavad Gita is actually worshipping Krishna.
Yes, that is how the worship of Krishna starts.
Okay.
By studying Bhagavad Gita, by hearing Bhagavad Gita. Study of Krishna it starts.
Okay.
Worship of Krishna starts.
All right. Okay. So here in the 72nd verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna, in fact, he's inquiring from Arjuna if he understood everything properly. Kachchidetachrutam partha tvayaiकाग्रेण चेतसा कच्चिदज्ञान सम्मोहः pranashtaste dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, have you heard this attentively with your mind? And are your illusions and ignorance now dispelled? So I especially love what Prabhupada is writing in the purport here. The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. But especially this line, what Prabhupada is writing. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. So, how amazingly compassionate and loving Krishna is that in case Arjuna had not understood, Prabhupada is saying Krishna did not mind even repeating the whole Bhagavad Gita. So, if you can say something regarding this outpour of compassion of Krishna.
That is the nature or the duty of the teacher to make sure that the student has learnt it and willing to repeat again and again. Repetition is actually a very source of explanation as well as understanding. So the teacher should be very tolerant and having a lot of compassion to the student.
Okay.
So the teacher also feels that when a student asks question, that I got an opportunity to explain more, elaborate more. So Krishna also, as a teacher, he is depicting the same mode. In spite of the same question asked again, we'll explain it in a different way. That's called teacher.
Okay. Now Arjuna's answer. Arjuna uvacha nashto moha smritirlabdha tvatprasadan maya achyuta stitosmi gata sandehaha karishyē vachanam tava. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt, and am prepared to act according to your instructions." So please share something on this verse, Prabhu, where Arjuna is now prepared to fight.
He is intelligent. He understood and that it is in my benefit to act according to Krishna's instructions.
Mm-hmm.
I should not listen to my mind. I should listen to Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
So one who listens to his mind, he becomes pagal. He
Okay.
becomes mad. One who listens to Krishna, he becomes divine. So
Mm-hmm.
Arjuna is intelligent. That is why he told Nashto moha, all my moha,
Mm-hmm.
that uh, that thinking that it is better for me to renounce work. Now I understood. Working for you is more important than renouncing work. That is, bhakti is more important than so-called renunciation, so-called jnana, so-called karma,
Mm-hmm.
so-called ashtanga. Bhakti means listening to what you say, and listening and doing for your pleasure. Ashtomoha, Smriti Ladva, I understood. I regain my smriti, my understanding that I am your servant. Ashtomoha Smriti Ladva. I understood the nature of things. Karishe Vachanam Tava. All my doubts have gone. So Karishe, I will do what you have told.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why Arjuna became victorious, because he followed the instructions of Krishna.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to be victorious in his war of life, then
Mm-hmm.
you should listen to what Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita.
Mm-hmm. So Prabhupada also is writing here, Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. For those of us, Prabhu, who don't have the same privilege like Arjuna, where we get directly Krishna's order, so then in that case, we have to follow our spiritual master's order.
Spiritual master's order is Krishna's order only, because
Okay.
spiritual master is going to give orders based on Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
is why it's called spiritual master.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritual books are Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam.
Okay. And if we come to this point of saying Karishye Vachanam Tava, that I'm prepared to act according to your instructions, but still, this does not necessarily guarantee external success, isn't it, Prabhu?
Success is progress in spiritual life. External, internal, both success, that very word success has to be defined properly.
Mm-hmm.
What is success? When you are developing love for Krishna, that is success.
Okay.
Developing love for Krishna means internally you develop rasa for Krishna, experience taste in Krishna consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Externally, in spite of all the difficulties, you go on serving Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of failure, you go on serving Krishna. So apart from that, anything in this world which is you define as success is actually not success.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, final two things related to Sanjaya recalling this whole conversation, and he's so thrilled. So, Rajan samsritya samvadam imam adbhutam keshavarjunayo punyam hrishyami cha muhurmuhu. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. So the last line here in the purport, Prabhupada is writing, the result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. So how can we come to the stage, Prabhu, where we practice Krishna consciousness in a way that we are thrilled at every moment?
You're already thrilled. Somebody hear into these discourses, this conversation for an hour and more than an hour, even they would have not done in their college life or in
Definitely.
school. They would have not sat for one period for so long. Why
Yes.
they are doing it? There is no compulsion. At least there is a compulsion.
Mm.
So you are able, you are doing certain thing without compulsion. That itself shows there is some thrill.
Mm.
There is no compulsion for you to do this podcast. There is no compulsion for me to do that, and
Mm.
there is no compulsion for the viewers also to sit and hear. But
Mm.
still, they are doing it. Why? There is a thrill.
Yes.
Neither I am paid, neither you are paid,
Mm.
neither the audience are. If they don't hear, something will happen. Nothing like that.
Mm.
So that is called Bhagavad Gita, or topic related to Krishna. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Uh, Tushyanti ramanti.
Mm. So, Prabhu, here in the last shloka of the last chapter, shloka number 78, Sanjaya is sharing, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhuter, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So, Prabhu, everybody wants to be fortunate. And here, Sanjaya is saying the way to attract good fortune is by having Krishna, the master of all mystics, and also having Arjuna, who is ready to fight the war, Dhanur Daraha. So, how can we also put ourselves in the footsteps of Arjuna, and how can we become as fortunate as Arjuna?
So the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, which is a Maha Yajna, like Purnahuti is going to have is going on now.
Mm-hmm.
War, Arjuna is fighting a war. And you may think, I don't have a war to fight for. But actually, everybody is fighting a war of life. Life is no less than a war. You find situations where you're so depressed, you're helpless.
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to come to your help at that time? It is Krishna. You may say, for Arjuna, Krishna was there in front of him. What about us? We have Krishna in the form of Bhagavad Gita.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when you read the Bhagavad Gita, study the Bhagavad Gita, you are actually talking to Krishna. And Krishna is talking to you. In this way, Krishna is with you if you have Bhagavad Gita with you, is with Bhagavad Gita with you. And you can speak to him every day. You can be Arjuna. And Bhagavad Gita is Krishna for you. In this way, you can be successful in the war of your life and make your life happy.
Fantastic, Prabhu. With that, we wrap up the discussion of chapter number 18. And as always, we'll move on to the Brahmastra segment. So, Prabhu, with this, we are wrapping up the Bhagavad Gita series. So, what I would like to do now is I'll just call out the different chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So, in each of those chapters, whatever strikes you the most, maybe a particular shloka, or maybe it's something Prabhupada has written there, or maybe some example that Krishna has given. It could be anything from the chapter. So, maybe you can just share it briefly, Prabhu. Chapter number 2, Sankhya Yoga.
The Sthita Prajna section is most dear to me because that is what I would like to strive to attain in this life by the time before I leave my body. So Sthita Prajna, especially the verse Ragadvesh Muktaistu Vishyanindriyescha Atmavishya Vidhyatma Prasadam Digachati. If you are able to give up raga and dvesha and then act in this world, dealing with this world, then Krishna gives his mercy. And the mercy is in the form that you will not be affected by matter even though you're dealing with it. So that's what is most striking in the second chapter.
Wonderful. So the next one, chapter number 16, Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga.
The all misconceptions of what a demon is, what is demoniac, who is the demon, that is removed by Krishna when he speaks this 16th chapter. Very simple. A person may be very gentleman-like, well-behaved, and he may be talking very nicely, very sophisticated language. But if he doesn't follow the scriptures, he's a demon. One who follows the scriptures, the Vedas, they're divine. As simple as that.
Okay. Chapter number 11, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga.
This is where Krishna tells Arjuna that I've already killed all the Kauravas. And he showed them that I've already killed them. So Arjuna has to just become a nimitta. Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. Krishna tells his Arjuna, to Arjuna, that Arjuna, I've already killed them. Purvameva, Nihita, Sarvaha. I've killed everybody before only. Just become my instrument. So being instrument in the hands of Krishna, we become purified. And we can give up the false ego that I am the doer.
Chapter number 7, Jnana Vijnana Yoga.
That is where Krishna actually teaches us how to see him in matter. Whatever you see in this world is nothing but energy of Krishna. So it should be used in energy of Krishna, where he says, everything you see in this world, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, they are all nothing but Bhinna Prakriti. It is energy of Krishna. Since it is energy of Krishna, it should be used in service of Krishna.
Okay. Chapter number 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga.
In spite of Arjuna being so powerful, he also had to undergo this Vishada. Then who are we in front of Arjuna? So as much as Arjuna also required to hear from Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita, for us it is much more important for us to hear Bhagavad Gita from Krishna and surrender to Krishna.
Okay. Next one, chapter number 6, Dhyana Yoga.
The conclusion of Dhyana Yoga, Atma Samyam Yoga, is that Yoginam Sarvesham Advatinantaratmana Shraddhavan Bhajati Yogam Samyuktamata, where Krishna emphatically says that my devotee is the topmost yogi. Though yogi is the topmost among all the transcendentalists, and among the yogis, the topmost is one who actually Shraddhavan Bhajate. One who does bhajan of Krishna is the topmost of all the yogis, not one who just goes to some Himalayas and does some silent meditation. Right. One has to do bhajan. Bhajan means bhaj dhatu, seva.
Chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga.
Where Krishna says that how can one become dear to him? He talks about the divine qualities. More than that, very interesting is Krishna gives options of if you cannot love me, do abhyasa for me. If you cannot do abhyasa, if you cannot do sadhana bhakti, then work for me. If you cannot work for me, give the results of your work for me. So ultimately, you attain me.
Okay. Chapter number 15, Purushottama Yoga.
Trishloki Bhagavad Gita verses are there in the 15th chapter, where Vedanta Sara is spoken. Especially very dear to Madhvacharya, where he talks about the Dvaita Siddhanta, the distinction between the Supreme Lord and the living entity. There are two kinds of living entity, Kshara Akshara, and Krishna is beyond Kshara and Akshara. Uttama Purushastvanyaha Paramatnya Tudarataha Yo Lokatrayamaishya Vibhartavya Yasmat Charamatitoham Aksharadapi Sa Uttama. So the distinction between the living entity and the Supreme Lord has been very clearly established in these three verses, which is the essence of all the Vedanta.
Okay. The middlemost chapter, chapter number 9, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga.
And this brings to the point of understanding that how Krishna's energies and opulences, his majesty, is drowning you in Ascharya, in Adbhuta Rasa. Paschame Yogamaishwaram. So experience of Adbhuta Rasa, astonishment, or being astonished by hearing about Krishna, that leads you to love for Krishna.
And finally, the last chapter, final one, chapter number 18, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga.
Manmanabo Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskar is a secret. Very interesting that in spite of Gita being read by many people, even in the past, even present, hardly people become devotees of Krishna because it is open secret. It's everywhere, everybody have it, everybody can have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, but until unless Bhagavad Gita is heard from the mouth of a devotee, one cannot understand the secret which is hidden in the Bhagavad Gita. That is why Krishna says in the 64th verse, when he says it is Rahasyam, I am going to speak to you the topmost rahasya. What is that rahasya? It is manmana bhavat bhaktam ityaji mam. If somebody has understood Bhagavad Gita, how can you understand this person has understood Bhagavad Gita? If he's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if he's paying obeisances to Krishna, and if he's thinking of Krishna, if he's worshipping Krishna, then he's understood Bhagavad Gita. If he's not doing these things, even though he might have memorized all the verses of Bhagavad Gita, but still he has not understood Bhagavad Gita.
Beautiful, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, for the last 135 days and 18 episodes, it's been such a purifying and enlightening journey. It's truly been a Bhagavad Gita yajna. So, before we wrap up, I want to just acknowledge a few things from your end. So, one is you have this tremendous ability to strike a wonderful balance between, on one hand, you are so uncompromising to the principles of Shastra, but at the same time, you have this uncanny ability to bring it down to the level of understanding through wonderful examples, real-time examples, real life experiences. So this is really phenomenal. So that was one thing. And the number two, at least I have the luxury of preparing the questions ahead of time, but you do it spontaneously. You don't know any of the questions that I'm going to ask. So it's truly a testimony to the caliber of a preacher that you are. So how deeply you know the Shastra. That was the second thing. And number three, I have many shortcomings in the way I present the questions, but you, because of your brilliance, you have been still been able to make sense of the questions that are being asked and still give profound answers. It was three. And finally, for the last 135 days, a little bit of your travel schedule that I know, you've been all over the map. You've been like ISKCON, Attapur, Miyapur, Gorakhpur, Sahibabad, Sweden, Bengaluru, Mangaluru, Mysore, Srirangam, Rameshwaram, of course, your home temple, Mira Road, and then you're constantly fluctuating to Vapi also. So you've been all over the map, but never once did you make me feel that you were too busy to take the time out for Pariprashna. You have always been super flexible and highly accommodating and always making time. So, on behalf of all the viewers and myself, really want to, I don't think I can really say thank you. Thank you would not suffice. So, my humble obeisances, we really appreciate your generosity of time and wisdom, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Ultimately, it's hard work. Your hard work is is the thing which made this possible. I am just giving 2 hours per week, but I know you're giving at least 20 hours per week for this. Really appreciable. Hare Krishna.
It's still worth it, Prabhu. It's Krishna Prabhupada's mercy and your blessing. Thank you so much. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. So, for the last 18 episodes, we all have been meeting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But now that Arjuna has picked up his Gandiva and he is ready to fight, we will leave Krishna and Arjuna alone on the warfare. Let Arjuna serve the mission of Krishna in doing Vinash Dushkritam. So, next episode, we are not going to meet on Kurukshetra. Instead, please meet us at Naimisharanya. So, we are going to move from one divine conversation to another divine conversation. So, what's going to happen in Naimisharanya? Well, already 88,000 sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi have already gathered there. And Suta Goswami, the great speaker, he is about to enter. So let us also gather this 88,000 holy sages and we will also participate and listen through the via media of His Grace Kamala Lochan Prabhu. And we will also hear, yes, you guessed it right, we are going to start a brand new series from one milestone to another beginning. And that's going to be Srimad Bhagavatam series. So I hope that all of you are as thrilled as Kamala Lochan Prabhu and I are. So we are really looking forward to this next journey. So please participate in it. And a humble request, between now and next episode, we are going to share a poster with all of you. We'll put it on WhatsApp. So kindly, what you can do is tell your devotee friends, non-devotee friends, your colleagues, your temple congregation, devotees, whoever you know, please tell them that something like this is happening. And tell them, encourage them that they can already watch Bhagavad Gita. The whole playlist is available in just one click. And we are going to start Bhagavatam. So please bring as many people as possible. So the more, the merrier it's going to be. So together we will all relish this journey of Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much. We will meet you in the next episode. As you know, in Naimisharanya, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first shloka. Until then, as always, stay inquisitive and stay Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.